How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Meet the most capable CRV Honda has ever dreamed of. The all-new CRV Trail Sport Hybrid. With all-terrain tires and available enhanced traction control, it's built for wherever the day takes you. Heated front seats and a heated steering wheel, ideal for winter drives and crisp early starts. And with generous cargo space, it's ready for big gear and even bigger getaways. The CRV Trail Sport Hybrid. Learn more at honda.com/CRV.
Make your next vacation unforgettable on Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Star of the Seas. It's everything you've loved about every family vacation you've ever been on, with mind-blowing thrills at the largest water park at sea, 7 onboard pools for every level of chill, more than 40 ways to dine and drink, and even more to enjoy at our award-winning private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is the new Star of the Seas. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Bare naked, bare naked, bare naked, ABCs.
Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we discuss every single Bare Naked Lady song from 7 to Y. If you look at my background, there are no Bare Naked Ladies back there, I promise. This is a green screen. It is not truly, I'm not on the beach.
Could you have gotten one with Bare Naked Ladies in the background? Or is that cost extra? Per lady?
I don't know if Zoom would have allowed that.
The band, of course. The band.
And if I did, it would only be fake nudes.
I see what you did there.
The punster is still going hard.
Sit you up, knock you down. Very nice.
Aaron, we're gonna talk tonight about your least favorite album.
Okay, I was wondering as I was kind of reviewing it. I was like, "Yeah."
I'm not talking about Snack Time.
Wait, yeah. Did I actually rate Snack Time higher than this?
Oh. Darn it, now you're going to make me check the numbers.
Come on.
Snack Time and Bare Naked for the Holidays, I would assume I rated lower than this, but I don't know.
Hold on, now I have to actually check the real sheet.
Well,
I know
bring
in
it
terms
up.
of studio
Holy
albums,
Holy sheet.
this was your lowest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple bright spots, and we'll talk about those.
Let's see. Fake Nudes, on a total, you gave it a 3.21. Bare Naked for the Holidays was a 2.97.
Okay,
and
that sounds
Snack Time was
right.
a 3.11. So
yes,
not as low as those two, but
yeah,
lowest of all the studio albums.
Well, I will say, nothing on this. There's a couple of songs that I really like on this album. I'll mention them, but nothing quite gets to the level of Pollywog in a Bug. So there was a close competition there.
So you're saying there's nobody better on this album?
Nobody does it better.
Nobody does.
Well, there are a few dusty rooms that we had to clean out, you know.
Open the windows and get some sunshine.
It had me feeling like a bag of bones at times.
All right. I'm going to bring it back to the subject.
Let's introduce. Nice. We should introduce our guest, I think.
All right. Well, our guest tonight is going to take over the podcast. You know, he's going to take the night.
What?
What?
Tonight we have Brent Henry joining us again. Thank you for joining us, Brent.
Thanks for inviting me along. Say happy to attend. It's been a while, so
we are glad to have someone from Canada. No more invisible fences.
Well, in times like these,
navigate through those problems.
More than ever, we need strong bonds of friendship with our Canadian friends. I think right now.
That's right.
That's right. You're half Canadian too, there, Aaron. So
I am.
I'm quarter.
Yeah, I'm really. Honestly, maybe I'd be like the good negotiator for all this. I can represent both sides.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to send
There'd
you to
be
Washington
nobody better.
right now. That's kind of mean. They might decide to deport you.
Well, all things considered, I'd rather be in Ontario.
That sounds like a good T-shirt.
I'd rather be in Ottawa. Yeah, there we go.
Well,
don't die.
As you can hear, I'm still recovering from my wonderful cold of 3 months.
Wow.
That doesn't seem quite normal.
That's what it feels like some days.
Chronic
So tonight we're going to discuss the 2017 album Fake Nudes. Of course, this album's name is a play on the Trump administration's use of the words fake news off the time. And I think it was a pretty good play, especially considering Bare Naked Ladies is the name of the band. Like, I like a good double pun. Good job, guys.
But it's a good double pun if you have to explain it. That's the problem.
The best part of a joke is explaining it, the punchline.
That's the best part, for
That's
sure.
how you know it's good, and when people still don't laugh. I love you, Tracy. Mwah.
But in terms of promoting this album, again, I do not like how they promote their own things. They really need to get a better manager. Well, or how about they need to get a manager? So their way of promoting this album was, if you buy this album ahead of time,
we'll send you fake nudes.
We're going to pre-release downloads for you so you can download some of our songs before the album even comes out.
Vanguard.
And we'll give you 2 new ones every month for the next 6 months.
Oh, it's a
leading up to
subscription
for the
service.
next 3 months leading up to this album. So you're going to get like half the album before the album comes out.
Sign up for BNL Plus.
Okay.
I mean, what the fuck? You just got half the album.
Yeah.
Which half?
To me ties into my beef with the way video games are released these days. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when you'd buy a physical thing at the store and put it in your system and play it. And now it's they're gonna sell it to you, and we'll patch it, we'll fix. It's not quite done, but we'll fix it in the first couple of weeks. Just give you a 50 gigabyte.
You will be our debuggers.
Yeah, we're all beta testing for free now. So I kid, but I mean, I will say this. In this era of deep fakes and AI, the fake nudes moniker is probably more relevant than ever. So I think that's pretty interesting.
I'll just ask one question, Aaron.
Yeah.
So when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, tell me you won't snap it up if it has a pre-download?
I mean,
answer honestly.
I'll be there.
Look, I said I didn't
Caught
like
him
it.
in a
I didn't
trap.
say that I didn't like it enough to stop all participation. I just I wish the system was better.
I'll hold my nose as I
I'll hold my nose for the download. But yeah, I mean, back in my day, you'd buy the damn disc at the store and you put it in your system and it worked.
These young whippersnappers.
Oh, there's always been janky
I mean,
games
let's
and
be
bugs,
honest.
but,
Sometimes
there's always been janky games and bugs, but you had to have it working enough so that there wouldn't be a riot if people purchased it.
Yeah, those are a hassle, I imagine. Why?
It was funny when you went between the 2 floors and sat there and hovered.
Oh yeah, for
Half
sure.
in, half out.
So the songs that they decided to release ahead of time.
Yes.
They released Bringing It Home.
Yeah.
They released
Why?
Looking Up.
Same song. Okay, got it.
2 weeks later, they released Canada Dry. Then they released Invisible Fence. And then We Took the Night. And then Sunshine. They did not... If you're promoting this album... Why would you not release the best song on the album?
So which one do you figure was the best song on the album? I got to ask. So
Bag of Bones. No.
I mean, I think hands down Township of King.
Township of King. Yeah, that's what I was
the best
thinking.
song on
That,
this
I
album.
actually made a note to say finally they picked the right song to end the album on, because that's the emotional climax of the album for me.
Yeah.
No, I like that one. There's a bunch of... I'm going to fess up. So when I first bought this, I heard you just today, when listening to the episode, Tracy, you'd said that, I heard the first song, and that was interesting. Then kind of push it aside for a little while. So I was pretty well the same with Fake Nudes. I heard for a couple, it's not kind of what I expected. That was this come out in November 2017?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to May, June 2018 when I have to start cutting my grass and I'm listening to albums. So if you listen to it enough, you actually start to like it. It's kind of like, I guess, how you learn to eat or drink something new. You got to do at least 10 or 15 times.
It's an acquired taste.
Exactly.
It's an acquired taste. Well, mine is a repetitive taste, but that's how I keep sort of like a lot of songs.
That's how you acquire it. Repetition.
Well, speaking as a resident of the great state of Maine, where Moxie is the king of beverages, I did not care for Moxie the first time I tried it. It's still not like my favorite, but on a hot summer day, a cold Moxie, I can enjoy it. I've acquired the taste, so I get it.
Well, so that's the trick. There's a psychological term for it. I can never remember the appropriate term. However, there's a psychological phenomenon that happens that basically says that if you start off in the mid-zone with between hating or liking something, so you're neutral to something, and you are bombarded with that, you will end up liking it. However, if there isn't even a negative taste to it, or, not taste, but, you get what I'm saying, then what you will end up doing is hating it all the more due to that. So it will drive you to extremes the more that you repeat something.
Okay.
Makes sense.
This is really explaining my whole life right now. Does this apply to? Are you okay? Don't snarf.
We have now understood.
I'm guessing this is a blanket statement for music and other things in life as well.
All things, yeah.
All things living. All things great and small.
It is. All things smart and ugly.
Oh man,
something like that, right?
You're on it. Yeah, bright and beautiful, smart. Yeah, that's the one. That's the antonym.
They released this in three different venues or types. They released it on CD. They also released it digitally later on. So it was not immediately available for digital, but all the pre-releases were digital. And then they released it on vinyl. But the vinyl, they decided to cut off the song 2020 Hindsight.
Okay.
Now,
in hindsight,
I was going to say, did they make that decision in hindsight?
I mean, I'm not going to say that
way
2020 Hindsight is the best song on the album. It's not. But it is on the top end of that list of good songs.
It's a decent song.
Versus, there were other songs that I always said, you could cut that off the vinyl and I'll be okay with it.
Well, which ones would those be? I'm curious.
Well, we'll get to that because there are a couple songs on the reorder that I do get rid of.
Don't jump the gun, Aaron.
Sorry, eh?
Sorry. You hoser.
Then they also
I'll pick you up
had
some Timbits.
The Fake Nudes Naked album.
That was the acoustic version, yes?
The acoustic version. Yeah. And they also did the digital spoken word version of this album where Jim's father did...
Hey, you want some more? Here's more.
And plus they released all the making of the songs album videos for this album.
Interesting.
I never saw those.
I do like making ups, I will say. I like
behind the scenes. Nice to see the band like behind the scenes and kind of get your perspective on how it was made and things like that. I really like the selfie cam jams.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun.
Those are decent.
Well, those came a year... Well,
that was
2 years
during
later.
The pandemic,
2
right?
years later.
But I'm just saying, I like seeing that kind of the interaction, even if it's like remote,
Yes. And I think they took something and they took it to a new level, much as Steve did with his at-home concerts. They decided
that
to
are
do
still
something.
going on.
Yeah, and I would say they took something that was done by a couple of people and they brought it to a new level and they made it actually work really well. And entertaining. So, great job, guys. Thumbs up for that one. 3 years from now.
Synchronized golf clap.
Yeah. Great mind.
Just felt the inspiration to golf clap.
So we've been complaining the last couple of albums that there hasn't been enough collaboration inside the band, and that there haven't been enough songs from the other guys.
I will say that's one thing I noted is that Kevin's presence is felt a lot in this album, and I think it's better for it. Like some of my favorite songs are the Kevin songs in this album, so really good effort on his part here.
Yeah. We have 6 solo Hearn songs. So almost half the album.
Yeah. It's
We
halfway
got
to
one
a whole
solo
hernia.
Cregan song.
It's a partial hernia. A partial tear.
One solo Cregan song.
Yep.
No solo Ed songs.
Really?
Ed
Is it like
does have
Ed-
3 collaborations with Kevin.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he has 4 collaborations outside the band.
What's the writing credit for Bag of Bones?
That would be all Ed. I mean, all Kevin. Sorry.
Okay. He likes to do really interesting stuff. That was one of the ones early on where I was like, interesting. This is different.
I will say
coming
that
from you, that's
the songs on this
notable.
album that I was not a fan of were the Kevin and Ed songs. Those were the ones that I liked the least,
What?
I believe.
Kevin Griffin and Ed?
No, Kevin Hearn and Ed.
Oh, okay.
We were
So-
singing together.
If there's no solo Ed songs, then Bringing It Home must be Kevin and Ed?
Bringing It Home
Or
is
is it-
Kevin and Ed Griffin, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Let me look it up to make
No,
sure I
it
get
is.
it right.
It
Because
is.
somehow
You're looking
my
up, can I
Fake
do-
Nudes album has disappeared.
Yeah, Ed Robertson, Kevin
Yeah.
Griffin.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, can I indulge myself by saying, just as I mentioned in a much earlier episode, that it's quite ironic that Ed collaborated with 4 people on this album. Yet
Yeah.
one of the reasons Steven felt forced to leave, I think, was because
Yeah.
he voted
Yeah.
to not collaborate with
It
him.
Yeah.
feels a little hypocritical.
Yeah.
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 It's
It's a shame,
unfortunate.
but, yeah.
And especially since Paige Duffy is my favorite songwriting duo of the band's history. Like, their stuff together was really, really, really good.
Yeah, I think so.
But
Hearn,
a lot of Hearn, yeah.
Hearn and Robertson collaborated on Sunshine, Navigate, and Nobody
Nobody
Better.
And you didn't like any of those?
I like
Those are my
Sunshine.
3 least favorite songs on the whole album.
Oh God.
So
I gotta say, Navigate kind of grows on you after a while because, like, I know when I had my motorcycle, I used to like bombing around in that and like listen to that, like said, late early morning, late evening, or whatever. It was one of those nice songs to sort of listen to when you're
Yeah.
going like like 60 miles an hour down the highway.
Nice.
I will say I liked the acoustic versions of some of those more.
I could see that. Navigate, Nobody Better. But I really like Sunshine. So I think I liked it better coming to revisit it too. I think it's a solid song. It's not my favorite, but it's a solid song.
Betsy, I got a reaction from you there. Please put some
A
words
Chime in.
nonverbal
Chime in.
of the 3 songs,
Or at all. But yeah, of those 3.
or at all. Let's just open it up. I didn't like Nobody Better. I just don't think it's one of those inoffensive kind of meh.
Yeah, I had a one-word review for that. And it's E with like 5 H's.
Yeah.
Not the with A.
Why do people always do that? They always repeat the consonant. We don't do that when we speak. We repeat the vowel.
I would say more vowels are better.
We always say eh.
Well, maybe they're too expensive. Like if you're on Wheel
but
of
with
Fortune.
what you would do, it was eh.
Never do that
Yeah.
again.
Sorry. No, but you finish your thought there, Betsy.
Yeah. I do like the other 2. I like Sunshine and I
Yeah.
like Navigate. Partially, I like Sunshine just on its own. Like, I think it's a really great song. But the Navigate, I have like just personal memories associated with,
Oh, nice.
with me and Alice because
Nice.
she would
Yeah.
dance to the song.
Aw,
And she does
that's
that. She does that ADHD spinning
around.
thing,
Yeah.
which for that song is perfect because
I
they
did
are
that
kind
as a
of
kid, but I guess that fits the
so,
diagnosis.
and she for the whole song she'd spin and just be so happy.
Aw,
So
that's sweet.
Yeah. So I mean, that's how we've talked before about like a song on its own merit being something you like, but then you bring in your own personal experiences with it. So that was kind of navigate to me. But then just Sunshine on its own just meant a lot to me.
Yeah,
I connected
like
with
that
it and everything. So yeah.
I feel exactly the same with, like I said, with 20, now that I turned 60 last October, so I got a lot of hindsight. I got to say that. So that really resonated with me more than I think more after my birthday than it did necessarily before. And I get, you know what, this is going to sound crazy, but one of the songs I like the best just because it's so different from anything else they've done, like from the point where they even brought in a female singer, which they do in almost no songs, was Flying Dreams. I just, for some reason, I just love listening to that one.
That's
I think I know
beautiful.
I know what the problem is with some of the songs though. They have to be loud. If they're not loud,
Yeah.
I don't enjoy them.
Oh,
much.
especially with Hearn.
Yeah.
He's so quiet.
Yeah. He's a
Yeah.
very soft-spoken boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would agree with what you'd said earlier, Tracy. That Township of Kings probably the best song on the album.
I agree with that.
It's very beautiful.
Good closer.
Yeah. Well, can I ask a question you guys normally have asked in this? So, do you think there's a better song to start off with? Because I had a couple of thoughts.
I do.
Yes.
Go ahead. I would
Yeah,
love to hear
you start
your
off,
re-release, your rescheduling of the album.
So, one of the thoughts that came to my mind is I think I had two or three might be better first. One, Looking Up.
Oh my.
Looking Up was one because you'll get that beat, that sort of the blood going. Navigate maybe, but based on some of the stuff, I'd probably say not. And You and Me, I think I'd put that near the beginning, not necessarily first, but near the beginning.
Okay.
Because I thought 2020 Hindsight might be a good one to either 2020 Hindsight or Flying Dreams would be good ones to end on.
Yeah, especially Flying Dreams to me just feels more like it's bringing things to a close,
Yeah.
I like that.
tempo-wise and whatnot.
Nice. I it's weird because Bringing It Home lyrically and thematically would be a
It's the end of
closing
the
song,
album?
but I kind of like
bringing it home?
for the energy. I kind of like it as a starter. Like it's got a nice kind of solid beat to it. You know,
Definitely like a stadium rocker.
yeah. Like Canada Dry, it just seems a little too. It's a little too anemic. It's just not quite. It doesn't have the energy to start off an album. If you're
No.
asking me.
No, it's
I mean,
a
I like
weak
the song,
starter.
but yeah, it's not really what I would choose to start the album. How about you?
And
guys?
it's not really. I could understand if the rest of the album was going to sound like that, and you're giving people a taste of like this is going to be different than our last albums.
Or
But
even
it's not.
thematically, and it's not there.
Yeah. How about you, Betsy? What would you start the album with?
I was thinking, what did I write? Oh no. Looking Up is what I was thinking. Just because it's a little more upbeat.
Yeah.
I would get on board with Bringing It Home to start if it was faster tempo.
Yeah. But that song needs.
I'm not just reading what you wrote either.
No.
But I agree.
You're right. I mean, that
But
song
yeah.
it needs that thing you do treatment. You know, you
Yeah.
pick up the tempo.
Yeah,
just
or
a
like
little bit.
a different tempo, like something catchier. Yeah.
For sure. I also perversely kind of like the idea of starting it with Bag of Bones because it's just so weird. You'd be like, okay, get ready for anything.
You get nothing but better from here on in, right?
Tell us how you're really
Here's
feel.
about 5 different styles that might do on this album.
Just like a pattern. It's like a combo breaker. Yeah, but no, it might also be good for like end of
Nerd.
side 1, beginning of side 2 kind of thing as a palate cleanser.
Well, that's interesting you say that.
Ooh,
Well,
just call me Nostradamus. I saw that coming.
nah.
So I decided to start off with 2020 Hindsight because of that interesting, like the piano and the drums, kind of like with the interesting.
Also known as Looking Back. We're looking back.
I think it gives it a neat little like pull your attention really quickly, and then it's still like it's got that deep beat. And it's got a strong rhythm that's kind of going there to catch you quickly. It's not fast, but that's why I then moved to Looking Up second. Because I was like, okay, now we'll pick up the pace a little bit and have that upbeat sound. And then I decided to kind of move to Invisible Fence because it's still kind of upbeat, but now we're getting into some of the political type stuff that Kevin's kind of saying.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you install an invisible fence? How do you know where to put it? Go ahead, that's all.
Like one of those dog fences. You just put a 1,000,000-volt line down over
Everybody gets.
Yeah, it's like a
You know it when you hit it.
fence, yeah.
You'll know where it is.
And then I decided to continue with the interesting conversation about politics with Canada Dry, which is kind of a Steve song, but not a Steve song, according to Ed. It's a Steve song.
They're all Steve songs.
And then going into some more upbeat stuff with Bringing It Home Again and that positivity. I really had to separate Looking Up and Bringing It Home away from each other because, as Betsy stated,
Similar feel.
they're very similar.
Same song done different. Yeah.
Same.
And then I did something unusual. There are no songs that were not released for this album. So nothing that was like extras or anything like that. But I was like...
Other than the 2 albums after it? You mean to say? Yeah.
So I decided to bring in a song that I got rid of last album.
Oh.
And
I
I'm
forgot
hoping
about
maybe
doing
they
that.
could do something a little different with it at this point. But if
Is
not...
it back?
Which
no,
one?
it's Globetrot.
Globetrot.
Because at least now it sounds different and it's not right up next to Matter of Time.
Please tell me they did a music video starring the Harlem Globetrotters for that one.
They should. I mean, come on. It's right there.
Missed opportunity.
Right there in the writing.
And then I'm finishing off side A with Bag of Bones.
Nice. Yeah. That makes sense.
That one's had to take its time sort of permeating into my brain or being accepting of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, like if you had asked me in November 2017 if there was 3 songs I could delete off this album, that would have been Bag of Bones, Bag of Bones, Bag of Bones.
Oh, that's a strong feeling.
Well, it's about 4 or 5 songs, so that's fine. Yeah. I liked it because it was just interesting and something different, but it's not a song that's usually going to be kind of caught in your head. Maybe parts of it. Like I will sometimes actually be thinking as I'm like, doing like chores or something, I'll be like, big dogs, biting dogs, barking dogs.
Yeah, big dogs cleaning out the kitty litter.
That gets stuck in my head sometimes. But yeah, for them, it's not like a real super catchy tune. It's just kind of an interesting. But I like the weird amalgamation.
It's very dynamic. Chimeric, it's got a lot of multi.
It's one of those songs going back to like 5-6 years ago that I said, and I still agree with what I said, that any one of those parts, I would listen to a whole song of that. Right. But it's them bringing those together, and I'm like, it doesn't quite work for me the way
I do love bands
I'm the
taking like little fragments that they can't quite turn into songs, like Bohemian Rhapsody, Happiness is a Warm Gun. Mm-hmm. They're not all going to be a day in the life, unfortunately. But I do like the idea, and I like it when bands do that.
I like it when bands do that, and they do it well.
Yeah.
This is an example of them doing it, and I don't think it worked.
Well, let me throw something at you because I'm interested to hear.
Disagree.
Yeah, I like Jim doesn't do a lot of songs, but like there's the last 2 or 3 that he's done I really really like, and same with like We Took the Night. So I'm just wondering what you guys thought of that one because like I really I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Well, didn't you listen to the episode? No,
haven't got there yet. Haven't got there.
Yeah, that's in the W's. That's way down.
Well,
the list.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I listened to it, but I get a great memory. It's just really short. I'm claiming old timers here, so like I can't remember how it went. But one thing I'm going to start doing once I get past the albums is I'm going to start. You'd send me the spreadsheet, so I'm going to start rating my songs. And a little aside is I'm kind of torn between something you guys had said when you were talking about this. Like I know in some of the episodes. Aaron, you mentioned that. Oh, hey, if I had have heard this one much later, probably would have taken it a lot different than I did when I'm like just learning about Bare Naked Ladies and kind of hammering that song early on. But I'm trying to think of my strategy as to how I'll approach songs. I can't do it alphabetically. I'll die long before you guys do. But I was thinking I might go with my 5, my really highs and my really lows, and everything else is Is it better? Is it better than this, or is it worse than that?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll fall in.
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking about that when I listened to 2020 Hindsight again in preparation for this, because I really liked that song, and I think it was a little harsh on it because it was literally the second episode that we ever did. So I was like, well, I got to leave some room, you know.
Who are these guys? Yeah.
I gave it a 3, which is solid, but I think honestly, if I were scoring it now, it would be much higher. But I'm trying not to kind of post facto do too much of that, because it's not fair to the other songs, you know. So it's like, I don't know, I gotta keep things as they are. But it is interesting to me. I think that's one of the things. As I was exposed to more and more of the band's oeuvre, I just came to understand their music, you know, in a kind of different way. And I also, because we were approaching it alphabetically, we were jumping around between the eras, right? So it was also, I think if I had done it, I'm glad you did this alphabetically, Tracy, because if we had done it in chronological order, I probably would have ran out of steam around fake news.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's it. I'm done.
Which is not, again, I don't hate the album. It's a good album. You know, it's like it's a decent album. Okay, it's a solid album, and you know, it's like if I said to you like maybe George Harrison or Ringo Starr is like the least famous of the Beatles, they're still really famous. They're the Beatles, you know. So like, it's a Bare Naked Ladies album. It's good music. It's solid, good music. There's some songs on there I really like, including The Township of King. But yeah, it's not my favorite. It's apparently my least favorite, other than Snack Time and Bare Naked for the Holidays, and that probably tracks.
Well, again, it's very in the middle, as we mentioned
Malcolm
with
in the middle.
Grinning Street. Like, it's a lot of in the middle songs with no highs, no lows, except for like one song.
The one thing you guys said in earlier episodes that I really appreciated as I've been going through is how some songs, I think you said, Aaron, where some songs are actually boosted by what comes before them or what comes after them, because
for
it fits that theme or
context. Yeah.
Well, speaking of context, my side B of the album would be starting off with "We Took the Night," and that's a song that the more I listened to it this week, the more I was like, I don't think I gave it a fair shake earlier on, and I really kind of like it. And it's especially listening to it in the context of this album. I wish I had heard more Jim on this album.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Like,
got a lovely voice.
Let's pull back a little bit on Kevin, because I love Kevin. Don't get me wrong, but or maybe pull back on some of the Kevin and Ed collaboration.
Yeah, and replace those with some
or take your
originals.
duplicate songs, take one of them out, and then add another.
So I reacted visibly when you said side B track 1, because that's literally what I wrote in my notes. Is that I think "We Took the Night" should start off the B side of the record or the cassette or whatever you have.
And my B-side is all of the slower beat stuff. It's almost like I went with the...
So you got the hits, and then you got the music the kids can dance to.
The warm up and the chill down.
Or not so much dance to, but maybe slow dance to?
Yeah, that's the one where you're doing this awkward shuffle in the dark
Punch and grab.
Sway.
Because would you
What'd
slow
you
dance
say?
to Dusty Rooms?
What'd you say, Brent?
Well, I said the clutch and grab.
Nice!
Clutch and
What
grab.
I thought you said.
Nice. Yeah, the old clutch and grab.
Yeah, one of us.
I did change out a few things. I did put in the acoustic version of Sunshine. I like the acoustic version much better. And then I went with Flying Dreams. And then I went with an acoustic version of Navigate. I think that's much better. I like You and Me versus the World, but I want to hear them do an acoustic version of that, and I think it would sound better acoustic. They didn't do it for that, but I want to hear them do that, and I would have said, boys, do me a solid, record me an acoustic version of that so we can see what it sounds like. I think it would have been good.
Ed, did Ed stop doing the bathroom sessions? Is there a bathroom session for that?
No,
Okay,
he had stopped doing it at that point. And they haven't done it as an acoustic version in concert. I looked and tried to find it, but I wasn't able to. And then I finished off with Township of King. But I did need to have 2 hidden tracks in there because I really like the acoustic versions of Invisible Fence and Looking Up. And while I think that the normal versions of those two songs need to be on the album proper, I really think, like, as a bonus track or as an add-on or an addition, bonus edition, like extended edition, need to have those two as the acoustics.
So you're saying the fence wasn't invisible, you just didn't see it because you were looking up at the time. You walked right into it.
He was looking and then the sunshine burned his skin.
Wow, there we go.
And
see, I didn't see the invisible
Bring it
fence.
home.
then he had
The
some
sunshine
flying
burned my skin.
dreams.
It's worth
Now you're
noting
just
that
a bag
you're
of bones. Sorry, go
putting
ahead.
almost half of the acoustic album on this album, because the acoustic album was only 8 songs, so it was quite a rip. I felt a little bit shortchanged on that.
Yeah, well, the thing is
it
like,
an EP when they do like a small album like that, right? That's called
Yeah,
EP.
EP. I mean, usually like 3 to 6, but up to 8, I could probably still call it an EP.
So how is that an extended play? That's what it stands for, right?
Well, that's more than a single. So originally,
Oh.
the old 45s or whatever would have, or not 45.
That's an LP.
Yeah.
long
So-
play.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. There's a long play. So you have the singles, and you have EPs, and you have LPs. And the singles would just be like literally 2 songs, an A side and a B side, and then you have extended play, and then
So it's extended relative to a single.
yeah, and then LP is the long play. Yeah, like a album, what we would call it.
I don't like that.
I don't care for the nomenclature either. But what are you
I
gonna
don't
do?
care, but I don't like that.
and I will
It makes
say
me
that
feel like
I
it's going to
thought-
be an album plus more. But go ahead.
I do want to point out that I did get rid of Nobody Better.
Ah. So nobody worse as far as you're concerned.
You know, I hurt my
God damn it,
feelings
that's gonna
when
flip
you
it.
do that. So
Do you like nobody better?
there's many better. Let's say that. No. So can I don't want to jump ahead too much, but can I tell you guys? I actually saw.
Okay, there's no rules.
So one of my favorite concerts that I saw with B&L, and I'm going to say this because I don't know if it's the same for you. I have never seen B&L. I've seen them probably 8 or 9 times. I've never seen them with an opening act other than at the Junos. Every single time I've seen them, it's just them.
No.
And what they did when I think it was summer 2018 when they were touring this one. And what was really interesting is they had like a setup. They had like a regular band setup, and then they had another one. It was kind of half covered, but it was like fake nudes. So the first half of the show, they did basically all the old stuff, whatever. And the second half of the show, and they probably did at least 25 songs, whatever. Then the second half of the show, they did like all the fake nude stuff. So it was really neat how they divided up. But it was just B&L.
Where did you see
this
them?
summer
Is
they
this,
have
is
a
this
lot
some
of
sort
openers.
of is this some sort of Canadian leg that they kind of do different? What?
I don't
He's
know.
in
It was,
Canada.
it was a fairly. I won't call it a small venue, but it was it was probably
That's what I'm guessing. Like
maybe
it's
1,000, not even 1,000 people.
Oh,
I
wow.
think.
yeah.
But it was
That-
wonderful.
That makes more sense then.
They actually had a meet and greet where they would actually.
Oh,
That was one of the
wow.
last meet and greets where they'd actually walk around and you could talk to them and
that's
do
so
stuff and get
cool.
stuff signed.
I miss those days.
Same here.
Damn you,
A
COVID.
real meet and greet.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than a meet and hear a sound check with 40 of your closest friends or more.
Very
Ben
close to
Folds
strangers.
did that when he played State Theater way back in the day, and I saw him. I got to shake his hand and talk to him for a bit, and he signed. It was pretty cool.
Give him a little kiss. I love you, Ben.
Ben, we know you listen. Come on the show.
And Steven still does that though, because I think I
That's
mentioned I
awesome.
saw him last year.
Yeah.
March
That's
last
true,
year.
yeah.
Yeah,
we saw him.
buddy.
Yep.
I was
There's
thinking
like
of
4
some-
people. 4 people at the sound check, like the Patreon, whatever.
Yeah.
Four of us.
nice.
Yeah, the upper team.
And
I'm sure.
said, "I'll ask anything you want, and I'll sign anything you want." So
Nice.
it's like, okay.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
Anything.
I went for a hard copy stuff, not body parts.
Oh, damn. That's not what I was implying at all.
Now, our friend Trevor Cox was supposed to join us tonight, but unfortunately he wasn't able to due to scheduling conflicts and because I didn't warn him until a couple days ago. Anyways, this is what he sent to me to make sure that we put into the podcast so that people would be able to hear his thoughts. He says not too many thoughts to add here. He just likes being part of the conversations with us. As he said before in the show, he's an album guy and he enjoys listening to the music the way the artist intended for it to be heard. I think B&L takes a lot of time considering the ordering of the songs on their albums, so I wouldn't change the order or delete any of the songs from the album. The only thing I wish that they had done is add more of Pat Hearn's spoken poetry to the lyrics, to the actual album. I know they released the audio of him reading the lyrics to each song on its own, but I think more of it mixed in with the songs would have worked. We get a little of that at the end of Dusty Rooms, but I wish they had mixed more of it into other songs. For example, I think starting off the album with Pat reading the first verse of Canada Dry, then getting into the song proper would have been an interesting way to start off the album. Adding a little bit more of it in the middle of a few songs would have made it a theme for the album and tied it all together a bit more. I also would have added the acoustic version of Navigate at the end of a bonus track. Love your thought there. Trevor says, say hi to everyone for me, which I'm sure goes out to everyone out in our listenership. And we would love to see you again soon, Trevor. Well, Zoom hates me and is going to kick me off in a minute. So I do have a final question, final thoughts, any things that you would like to make sure that you say about fake nudes.
Well, is that for them or me?
Both of you.
Start
all
with
of you.
Okay.
Go for it.
5 things I would say. 1, don't start with Canada Dry because, like I said, it was too slow.
Agreed.
2 is we needed more Jim song, at least one more Jim song. 3, Fake Nudes isn't the best name. It may, like I said, the pun may work when you explain it to me, but I really like to, like I said, I love the album. I love the way what they're trying to do with this, but like, and again, call me Canadian, but if you have to explain it to me, I don't find it funny anymore.
You're Canadian.
And I think 4 would be, I really enjoyed the difference of Flying Dreams, like I said, with the female singer, which they never do. And there's some songs that would really benefit, I think, from either a female person backing it or singing with that on some of the stuff, which I don't think we've ever seen. And I think the last one would be, again, I'll say, like I said, as an slightly older than those guys, I really appreciated 2020 hindsight. So I thought that was a good time. Good.
Well, I think Brent pretty much summarized anything that I would have had to say about it, other than what I've already said, and as much as I think something like Bringing It Home, something with that kind of energy, or maybe Bag of Bones if you want to get weird with it to start it off. I think Township of King is the perfect closer. I wouldn't touch that. What do you think, Bits?
I actually kind of got used to Canada Dry as the opener,
Okay.
so for me that feels right now, even if it's a little slower start. I really love that song, and I always sing along to it, so that works for me. But I would support like something a little more up tempo for an opener, like whatever it was I said. What did I say? Looking Up. Yeah, which is the single, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some of these songs were redundant, and I guess in general I would say kind of my pet peeves as a music listener would be songs about writer's block and songs about touring, because I can't identify with it because I'm a music consumer. Although technically
Well, you're a creative person,
so but I did like how much Kevin was on this, because he always he just can't do wrong in my book for him. Dusty Rooms really spoke to me, not because I'm a poor cleaner, obviously, just because of the ruminating mentality. And yes, I also agree that Jim should have had more songs on there. For me personally, the acoustic records don't what do the youth say? Bang is hard, rip is hard, hit is hard. Yeah. So I'm more of a beeper booper. I like some bass and I like some editing. Yeah. No trouble. So, I think you could have taken away a few songs and still would have had a decent album. And yeah, that's about it. I like closing on Township of King or Flying Dreams. I would say.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up on our end. Brent, good to have you on the show.
Well, that's all there is tonight, and thank you guys so much for joining me. Brent, it was Brent, as always, it was a pleasure having you join us, and come back anytime, especially as we head into the Steve albums in a few weeks, months, something like that. Head into the Steve albums in a few weeks.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets. Except maybe one.
Next week when we discuss Detour de Force. Have a great week and come back next week when we discuss Detour de Force.